Kada je kao mladić u sastavu švedskog UN bataljona 1995. godine bio u Bosni i Hercegovini, obećao je sebi da će se vratiti i pomoći zemlji. U svojoj karijeri proglašen je više puta u Švedskoj najuspješnijim poslodavcem godine. Odlučuje da 2013. otvori ured konsultantske firme System Verification u Sarajevu. Od tada BH uposlenicima obezbjeđuje švedske plaće i standarde. Ubrzo postaje osnivač i direktor firmi Reinvent i CodeScene. Tajna njegovog stabilnog uspjeha jeste ulaganje u ljude. Smatra da svaku poslovnu krizu možemo prebroditi ako se okružimo sposobnim uposlenicima. O svojoj ličnoj i poslovnoj vezi sa Bosnom i Hercegovinom, ljudskim i preduzetničkim motivacijama te narednim kompanijama koje otvara, za Al Jazeeru govori investitor i poduzetnik Hamdija Jusufagić.
Dobrodošli u program Al Jazeera Balkans.
Hvala.
Evo, vi ste rođeni u Švedskoj, ali uporno dolazite i vraćate se Bosni i Hercegovini.
Baš tako. Otvorio sam firmu ovdje 2013. Prvu firmu ovdje, to je System Verification. Ali imam porijeklo iz Bosne isto, ja imam porijeklo iz Kozarca i imam isto malo rođake i tetku ovdje u Sarajevu.
I to su razlozi?
Pa dobro, to je razlog. Imam isto, mislim, nekako sam svako ljeto došao ovdje u Bosnu kad sam bio malen. I tako sam isto došao u Sarajevo nekoliko puta i normalna stvar ovdje ima veći fakultet i zato sam imao isto mogućnost ovdje otvoriti firmu.
Okay, talking about business, we will switch to English now.
Yes, I think it's easier for me.
So, ever since you started your career, actually, you've been receiving awards.
Yeah.
When did it all start, actually?
Well, it started in 2002. That's when I opened my first company. It's called System Verification. We're about 350 employees today, spread out over Europe, so Sweden, Germany, Poland, and Bosnia. And I got the idea from a previous IT company I worked for. And I wanted to start that company within that company, but they didn't want to go in that direction because I wanted to build a company focused on quality assurance of software. And they thought that this was too far from their own company core business, so that's how I then came up with the idea to start my own company.
Yeah, but at the beginning you were a lone rider.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that in the start. If you totally believe in something, you see the possibilities. I started under a crisis after the millennia. A lot of the IT companies had a hard time in Sweden. So when Ericsson had a problem and all IT companies were dependent on those big companies like IKEA, Ericsson and Tetra Pak. But I thought also, you know, during a crisis you also have access to good people. So that's when I decided to start up and interestingly enough, my first customer became Ericsson and then Sony Ericsson and so on.
How did you manage that?
Well, I mean, with quality assurance, often that was built into other companies as it was never a core business for people. It was either a development company which had competences within this area, but then I wanted to build a company that had focuses on this, so I could attract people that really love to do that kind of work.
And you've been announced the best newcomer in Sweden, right?
Yeah, in 2009, that's Ernst & Young. They have this prize for Entrepreneur of the Year, and yeah, I mean, I think they saw that the company I built up was just a typical IT company. It was based on core values, recruiting, looking at long-term effects as well. So we were awarded quite a lot for our company culture.
So was that the thing that differentiates you from other companies?
It's our niche. When I started the company, there were not so many other companies that just focus on this area. So I wanted to build up the biggest one in the Nordics around the quality assurance. And a lot of people, of course, an entrepreneur, you always hear that everything is impossible. That's, you can't build a big business around this. And I had the first goal was set to 100 people in the Nordics. And when I achieved that, you push the limit a little bit further on. And then later on, we became the biggest one in the Nordics.
Yeah, but ever since your beginning, the company had a steady growth. How is this possible? Because we do know that businesses have their ups and downs during their growth.
We've always been profitable for over 20 years. And people know, and we have gone through this, you had this Lehman Brothers crash after 2008 and 2009. Well, I think we could have been more people employed, but we have been very careful about our recruitment. Because if you recruit great people, you can also handle crisis in a better way. And it's also around how you manage people. For me, management is building flat structures, giving responsibilities to people. Because then, and also looking at diversity, of course, having a good mix of men and women, but also different age groups, different cultures and so on. Then you can view problems with different perspectives, and that helps you go through crisis in a much better way. So that's, I think, how we managed to be sustainable in that sense.
And you managed also to attract more than 300 employees now.
Yeah, we're a little bit over 350 employees today. And we have a steady growth. I mean, even when people are having issues with the economy today. And I think our customers, you know, when we engage in expanding, like we did in Sarajevo, for example, when we show them that we also create an effect where we establish offices. We don't just open an IT company. We try to, you know, create positive impact in our surrounding as well. As you see in our office, for example, everything that we have brought into this office is built here in Bosnia, you know, created by Bosnians and so on. So I think that is where our customers see that, you know, we're not just a niched QA company. We also, you know, have this sustainable thought.
I would like to talk more about the culture of the company, because this is exactly what makes it so unique.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I mentioned again, around the culture, how do you create a culture? I mean, it's not just built by one person, me. I'm the guardian of, you know, our values, but we build the company culture together. And it's, you know, you can't just, you know, create it, right? You have to live by it. And what I mean with that is that, you know, if I want to be if I want to build a great company culture, it has to be based on people can make an impact, and you have to show that as well. So
what is making an impact for you?
Well, I mean, I love to have transparency in a company. It's important, and you can affect the decisions that's making an impact, and also bring in what other people care about. It's just not projects I want to, you know, do in different countries. It's what they want to do. So, for example, here in Bosnia, they have a, you know, helping out with the organization called Ruku na Srce, and if they want to do that and want to engage in that, that's a positive thing. That's the things we support. And the people that build a career, who are those people? It's the people that care about the growth of the company, and the well-being of the company. They are also the ones we reward, you know, getting higher positions as well. They don't, you know, look for the reward directly, just do the job. And that's how, you know, find the right people to manage the company, and then it's not dependent on me. And that's the one thing I learned really early on in my career. You know, if I want going to take all the decision and everything is going to be dependent on me, I'll be the bottleneck, right, in the company. So it's important to share that responsibilities to others and really giving them the authority to take decisions as well.
Responsibility and corporate social responsibility.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
I mean,
so it brings us to Bosnia and Herzegovina. You said that there were two reasons why you came to this country. What were they? Or what are they?
The natural thing is, of course, that I have origin from here as well. So I care about this country quite a lot. I was here during my entire childhood. And of course, then the war came, right? And I was here as a UN soldier and then an IFOR soldier during the war.
How old were you then?
21 years old.
And what made you make this decision?
Yeah, well, my parents thought, you know, they have saved me out of this problem. But you know, I was born in Sweden. I'm the only one in my family that are born in Sweden. And we didn't apply for Swedish citizenship until '89 when I got a call to join the Yugoslavian army. And my parents realized that something is happening in this country. So quite quickly they made sure that I joined the Swedish army and did my military service there. But then during that period of time, I got the question if I wanted to join the UN mission from Sweden perspective then into Bosnia. And I wanted to do something because I was afraid of if I didn't, you know, do anything about the situation down there, I have to live with this shame entire life, right? So that was scared me more. So when I came home to my parents, I said, you know, I'm going down in the war to Bosnia. Of course, it wasn't positive news for them, but for me it was important, right? So during that period of time, they signed the Dayton Agreement. I joined the IFOR forces, but then when I left, I saw the ruins of this country, a beautiful country with a lot of possibilities. I made then and there I made a promise, if I can, and I'll have to push myself to do it, I want to go back and make an impact again. And I didn't know then that I will open a company, but you know, through any means I could. So that was one promise. And then the other ones, you know, to make a change, a long-term change, I think it was important for me as well to open an office here, because I think if you give people the great possibility for a great job with a high salary, because then you lift them out of the need to have 2 jobs to survive or 3 jobs to survive, then people can start to think of long-term impacts, right? And then affect the politics of this country in the right direction. So I think it's important for everybody to come up to a situation where the economy works for them.
So you came back, and then you are working on improving digital life in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yeah, I mean
the economy as well, as we understood.
Yeah, I mean, one important, we have our vision, improving digital life. What that means is to use digital solution to make a better growth for companies, for governments, or whatever it could be. But I also think it's important for us, when we open offices, it's important to pay taxes. Because with taxes into this country, people will be able to get better roads, better schools, and that has been one of the success stories of Sweden, right? So even if I can complain about the taxes in Sweden, because they're high, I still pay them because it's important to contribute to the society. So that's why Sweden is, it is the highest innovation per capita in the world. So it's built out, and it's because the government has invested in infrastructure, right, and fiber, so everybody has fast connections. We even have, at a point of time, we had subsidized computers, which means, ordinary family, my family that worked in a factory could buy a quite new computer for me as well, so I could get an early start working with computers.
So, but did you have any obstacles when you were starting a business in Bosnia and Herzegovina, since a lot of entrepreneurs complain about this?
Well, when you have been in a war, you minimize obstacles because you know what the real problem is in life. You value life in a different position. So I usually, independent of a big obstacle it is, it's small compared to what I lived through during the war. So yes, of course it took some time, but I don't see that as a hurdle to create a business down here. So we just went through them, started a company, and what was so wonderful is the great people here you can employ, really contributing back, not just to this area, but to the business company, the company I have in Sweden as well.
But you mentioned these premises here. Were there any obstacles or challenges, I would say now, in building this up? It's very impressive. Even the Swedish royal family visited it.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, again, those obstacles are always there, independent in which country we open. And sometimes it takes longer time down here. Of course, in Sweden, everything is digitalized. You can start a company within a day. You can get going, and it takes a little bit longer time here. And I think it's, they're making progress here. It takes much longer time, of course, but I think that doesn't need to stop you as an entrepreneur to invest, because the company is made up of people, right? So if the people are great here, which they are, that is the goal and ambition I want to establish a company with.
But when we talk about the company, by 2018, I think you built a whole ecosystem. Yeah. Business ecosystem, of course.
Yeah.
So how?
Well, again, I usually talk, when I talk to entrepreneurs, they said, how can you manage to do all of these things at the same time? Again, I have to say, it's the people you recruit, right? So that's why it's so important to recruit great people. So a lot of people came to me. If you do things, not of the reason where, what does that give me? You do things just because you try to help out people, you try to create a good company where people love to work. So when I started my company, I wanted to create a place where I want to work myself, independent of which position. Then of course, after a while, that spreads, right? It's like creating ripples in a
ripple effect.
The ripple effect, right? And people come to me, can't you invest in my company? Can you help me start up? And so you
Is
have
this what happened in Bosnia as well? Because a lot of people want to leave the country, but they are staying now.
Yeah, and I also, we have this issue as well in our Swedish or in our company here in Sarajevo as well. Our CEO here in Bosnia, her name is Kada, and she of course also looked at, should I go to Germany because it's a hard time for the entire family to get a job here. But I told her it's important for you to stay, to be a beacon here in this country as well, and we'll invest in you as well. And that has become true right now. She's the CEO, so of course we have this challenge, and I didn't want to become a company that contributed to brain drain, right? Taking out the people with good academic background into Sweden or to Germany and so on. And it has happened. Sometimes we have to do it, right? But the ambition is to keep the people here as well, to long-term change this country, because it's important for them to stay as well and contribute back to society.
You do have thing for crisis, as I noticed, because in 2020, when everything was closing, you actually opened up another office in Warsaw.
Yes, that's true. Though, as I mentioned before, I started my company in 2002 as a crisis. I usually see, a lot of companies say that they're very long-term, and they have a great company culture, they stand behind their co-workers and so on. But of course, during the crisis, that is really proven, right? Because then usually people take the easy way out, not being long-term. So we also had a crisis in Sweden in 2008 after the Lehman crash, but I kept all the employees. I took the profit I created in the company, defended my position. We came out just break even. It was 200,000 Swedish kronor plus during that year. But I invested in the people. And there is always an opportunity there. So a lot of people are disappointed. They thought that they're working for a great company maybe. And then you have access to great people. So that's why I also opened up in Warsaw during that period of time.
How did you get to these people, or they came to you?
No, well, it was also, again, great work we did with our clients, and they needed help in that region as well. So they asked us if we can provide support or competence from Poland as well.
Saving businesses and people in crisis.
Contributing back, it's a team effort, right? So if we work with our companies, listen to their issues, and try to create solutions, then of course it's better to do that together. And usually, if you do it well, it's successful, and people remember that, and always want to return to that company that helps them out during hard times.
Since we're coming close to an end of the interview, we've talked a lot about people, and that is very justified. But let's talk a little bit about the products. CodeScene, for instance.
Yes.
How does it shape the software industry?
Well, it's a very interesting product. This is an example of the ripple effect. Adam, that is the founder of that company, he came to me. He started the company in 2015. In 2016 we met, and disruption is something I also have a passion about. Disruption is about finding a better way to solve the same problem. And we've seen that in the music industry from Sweden, for example. We have Spotify that rented out music. Who would have thought that was possible? When he showed me the product he's built, it was a new way of quite quickly, independent of the size of the company. It could be 10,000 developers. Within a couple of minutes, we can understand where the problem is in the code. So he showed the product in an early stage, and I invested in that company then, became the chairman, and now I'm the CEO of that company. And me and Adam worked really closely, and that created that possibility. So that company started off with customers in England and then Germany, not Sweden, where we were founded. And now we have, our market is 35% US, 57% Europe, and then rest Asia and other countries.
And it teamed up with We Think Code. Why is it so important?
Yeah, again, something after that crisis in Bosnia during the war, I also felt the responsibility to make an impact in Africa. So there are a lot of crises there as well. And sometimes people overlook that. And I think it's important, if you want to build a sustainable society for the entire world, we have to help out in different places. So I saw the possibilities to have a collaboration with one person that we knew from CodeScene perspective. His name is Aslam. He is born and lives in South Africa. He was one of our advisors in CodeScene. And he opened up the door to establish a contact with education academy that developed skill sets within development. They were called the Rethink Code, and I liked the idea, so I traveled down there, and we were looking at opening up an office there later. So we started here. I mean, CodeScene today is opening up in Sarajevo as well. So I have all the three companies here. I have Reinvent, I have System Location, and I have CodeScene.
What does Reinvent do?
So Reinvent is a company that focuses on development, right? So they're development focused, and also looking at how do we create, how do we use digital solutions to create new possibilities for businesses. Also a little bit disruptive mindset there as well.
Talking about disruption, we do live in a very challenging times. What can we expect next, except the awards?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, we just opened up CodeScene here, and we also announced yesterday that we were opening up a new office for Reinvent in Split. So, we're spreading as an ecosystem, and I think ecosystem is important for me. It's not just the companies I have invested in or I was founding as well. I have a lot of co-founders here involved as well, but also working with other companies that we don't have any shares with as well. So we have one company we work with here is called Mladić in Bosnia. So with that ecosystem, it spreads, right? And more people involved, and we create successful businesses together.
Successful businesses, but I think the motivation is intrinsic.
Well, I mean, a company has to be profitable to get this freedom or the luxury. But yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot to contribute to different countries. I mean, we went into Germany. That was not a country in crisis, so to say. There is great possibilities, 80 million inhabitants. A lot of our known brands are there. But I think it's good for your soul to give back to society. And if you have a possibility to help out somewhere, it also creates a great opportunity for the rest of the company. So I think, it's a combination. So I love to do this work. No one is
left behind.
Sorry?
No one is left behind.
No, I mean, that is important. If we want to create a world where we can live in and affect what is negative, I mean, if you look at the carbon emissions and so on, we need to get everybody on board. It's not a good world where people have to flee to different countries, and the solution is not for everybody to go to Europe or everybody to go to the US or wherever it could be, is to create those possibilities, because there are possibilities in every country. I think with the right ambitions and right company cultures, you can create positive effects everywhere, and I want to show that.
It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, thank you very much.